Party people in the place to be. What up, though? What's going on, Panthers Nation? It is your boy, Aaron Duncan, a.k.a. Dunk on Demand, here with another exciting episode of After Further Review, brought to you by PrizePicks. Y'all know how it goes. This is another stream. I hope you guys follow me on Twitter. I put out the notification that I will be going live tonight instead of yesterday. If you did not get the message, I apologize. But hopefully, you're able to tap in and tune in. Shout out to everybody watching this live. You guys know how we get down. This is a live film breakdown podcast where we get into the nitty gritty. We're not going to get in-depth coverage of the Panthers anywhere like this on the net. So I appreciate you tapping in for that exclusive. If you're on the replay gang, the way we do this is we do a full breakdown live, but after the fact, we edit it down. We render out some of the film breakdowns because of copyrights. So if you want to get that uncut, raw, dope content, you got to become a member. Members of any level get the unedited, I guess, version. So make sure you guys become a member. Shout out to all the members supporting the channel. What up, though? Everybody in the chat, Nick Rose, Stream Being Poppy. Knucklehead K, what up, though? Tariq in the building. Tez, what up, though? Earl Lockley in the building. What up, though? J47, what up? Matal Lomax, what's good, brother? Trizzy in the building, what up, though? Jay Hudge, what up, though? Nicole Ivory, what up, though? You're Odie McVerdi. SC Panthers boy in the building, what up, though? Jay Stevens, what is up, though? He said, what is up, though? You got it, brother. You got it. But, man, it's a good night, man. It's a good night, good day. We're not going to waste a ton of time because it's already 9 o'clock. We've had the unks and the aunties have talked about, shout out to my guy Terry for talking about he got his 4 o'clock shift. He 9 o'clock show is a little late for him. I get it. Y'all know me. Many of times I've been on this stream and I've yawned. I don't know what it is, man. Once you get past 30, 32, 33, 34, 35, somewhere in that area like I am, your boy just turned 35 last month, 2 weeks ago. I be tired, man. I'm not going to lie. I fell asleep. I was watching the game last night. I fell asleep at halftime. I woke up, it was 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm over here having to watch the highlights of what happened in the second half of the finals. It's bad, bro. I'm tired all the time. And man, I don't go to bed at night, so that's probably it. But I'm still just tired. I don't be tired during the day. I get tired at night, though. I hit the bed, go right to sleep. I don't be tossing and turning and scrolling. No. As soon as my head hit the pillow, I'm out. I'm out. I be tired. But yeah, I fell asleep, man. I fell asleep at halftime last night. I do it I think Thursday night football last year, out of the 17 whatever games they had, I probably fell asleep at 70-75% of them at halftime. Whether or not I woke up before the game ended, that was always the game. The game that happens. It's just tough. It's tough. Yeah, I don't get no naps. That bonus sleep, I would love to have a nap, but I don't get that bonus sleep no more. I don't get that bonus sleep. I used to love my naps back in the day when I was in school. But now, I'm up all day. I'm drinking 2 coffees a day. It's tough. But we here, man. We here. Drink some water to make sure I'm hydrated. We're not going to waste a ton of time. Let's get into some of these news about that. So, blueprint drop for the Panthers, the draft process. Matter of fact, give the video a thumbs up if you have not. Give the video a thumbs up if you have not. Give the video a thumbs up if you have not. And also give yourself a round of applause for making it to Thursday. Friday, Junior, we here. Round of applause, but make sure you give the video a thumbs up before we get into it. But blueprint drop, dog. With Aaron Donald years old, he already got to retire. Man, listen. The Panthers, look, these 2 trades that happened, the Panthers, we won 2 trades that we weren't even a part of. How you love that? The Carolina Panthers didn't have to give up any draft assets. They didn't have to give up any players, but they still won the trade. Myles Garrett gets traded from the Cleveland Browns to the Los Angeles Rams for Jared Verse, first-round pick, second-round pick, and a third-round pick. Week 3, the Carolina Panthers were scheduled to play the Browns. I mean, the Browns, they're looking like they're going to be in our sweepstakes. But the best player probably in the NFL not being on their roster is news to me. Because if Monroe Freeling, our rookie tackle, is going to be starting on the left side, that is one less, I guess, and Jared Verse, I don't want to slight Jared Verse, but he ain't Myles Garrett. I'm happy to see Jared Verse line up across from Monroe Freeling than Myles Garrett. We know Ike Ekwonu had to go through the trenches. You know what I'm saying? He had to go through the trenches against Myles Garrett in his first start. You know what I'm saying? Through the fire. Monroe Freeling, he got a tough schedule overall too of edge rusher. So anyone off the schedule is music to my ears. Being able to remove Myles Garrett from the schedule that early in the year, it feels great. It feels great. We had one of the toughest schedules in the league, but it got a little bit lighter. Got a little bit lighter. You know, got a little bit lighter. So I'm happy to see that trade. The Panthers caught a win on the trade without even having to move any pieces or parts. Myles Garrett, again, best in the game. Probably player. Definitely edge rusher. Broke the sack record last year. Monroe Freeling, probably standing up clapping. Bryce Young, standing up clapping. Happy. Maybe we'll see the Rams again. They felt like they needed to. Shout out to Owen Jackman on the super chat saying that Garrett and McDuffie all because BY9 and Coker. Look, man, we pushed them to the brink. They said they had to reload. They said they couldn't sit on their hands. All of this just to stop Bryce Young, Jalen Coker, and Tedero McMillan. The Rams are getting desperate. Nah, they did. We did cook their corners. We cooked them. But the Rams, I mean, people are saying that they probably didn't give up enough. And shout out to Owen Jackman. Appreciate you on the super chat. The Rams didn't have to give up much, in my opinion. The Browns could have got more. Because a first, second, and third plus Jared Verse, I would have asked for one more first at least and took that third off. We're talking about the best player arguably in the game. Probably going to play another 5 years. It seems like they restructured his deal, so he's on the team through 2029, 2030 or so. The Rams are going for it, man. The true definition of F them picks. And the fact that they didn't have to give up another first, take it. They probably like, take it. What are the Browns going to do with these proverbial picks that they get? If they're going to have Andrew Berry still? I don't know. You got to make the right picks. You can't just have picks. It's cool to have picks. But if you're not going to pick the right players, it don't matter. It don't matter. But again, I understand there's a lot of time left on Jared Verse's rookie deal. Only 2 years into the deal, so there's some value there inherently. But I still think you could have got another first, man. I still think you could have got another first. I don't know what it is with these teams. These good teams are taking advantage of these guys where they're not negotiable. Like, why not shop around? The Packers, I mean, they got more, but they didn't. I don't know why they didn't shop around with the Cowboys. The Cowboys ain't shop around and get more from Micah. Myles Garrett, why didn't they shop around? Try to get more from Myles Garrett. We didn't plan on making this trade. Boo-hoo. Yeah, right. If you didn't plan on it, drive the price up. I don't get it. It never seems like enough. But all that to say, we've seen the Rams upgrade from young players. We saw them have Jared Goff, who was formidable, but they felt like he wasn't enough. They could get better. They moved on, used picks to get Matthew Stafford. Same thing here. Verse, fine player. 2 years into the game, you have an opportunity to get Myles Garrett. Yeah, you upgrade. You upgrade. The clock is ticking for Stafford and for McVay. I think McVay want to get out of there. They're putting all the chips in the table. They drafted Ty Simpson. McVay ain't trying to see them. McVay is not trying to see Ty Simpson. He trying to get this ring and get the heck on before Ty Simpson has to play. You saw his face during the draft night. You know what I'm saying? So the Rams, always aggressive, always hunting. I mean, you got to think the Rams are the favorite right now. You got to think they're the Super Bowl favorite, in my opinion. I mean, we'll see what Mahomes and them look like because it's hard to bet against him. But it's the Ravens. The Rams are the clear favorite. They ain't on our schedule this year. We'll see them in the playoffs. But the other part of it, the Carolina Panthers won another trade where the Eagles traded A.J. Brown. This was the worst kept secret in the NFL. We've had all the Diana Rossini drama. We've had the Mike Vrabel drama. They moved off of A.J. Brown. The Panthers also traveled to Philly to play the Eagles. A.J. Brown, the top 10 receiver in the NFL, is now off of the schedule. Yes, the Eagles have Mekhi Lemon and Devontae Smith, but not having to face A.J. Brown makes you feel a little bit better. So the Panthers will be traveling up to Philly this year, and they won't have to face him. Another win. Another win for the Panthers without having to give up any assets, any players. They won. Now, I've heard all kind of rumors about this A.J. Brown stuff, man. I don't know if what I believe. But clearly, there's a problem with Jalen Hurts. Probably something to do with football, something not to. But A.J. Brown is the type of guy that, yeah, he's a diva wide receiver. Oh, our receivers are divas. But this brother does not care about winning. He's made that clear. After they won the Super Bowl a couple days, he said that he was not having fun anymore. He said he didn't feel it anymore. He didn't like the sensation of winning the Super Bowl. He said he doesn't get joy from football from winning games. Literally says that he doesn't have fun winning. He likes to win and dominate his matchup, meaning he just likes the football. He doesn't care about the outcome of the game. You play to win the game. If you get dominated in your matchup and you win, you gonna boo-hoo? You gonna boo-hoo with a ring on your finger? Or if y'all lose the Super Bowl and you have a TO-like game where you go off, but y'all still lose, you cool with it because you dominated your matchup? The brother does not care about winning. His head not in the right place. You got to get them type of guys up out of there, man. Good player, but you got to get them type of guys up out of there. So now he coming out talking, saying he always was a Patriots fan. Okay, man. Bragging about Drake, man. Okay, man. Talking about purposely saying stuff in the media because he knew that it would help make changes. Like it would rift through the locker room and it would make change happen. That's crazy to me. He said all this in the interview with Maria Taylor. Go watch it. He said all this stuff. This is him on record. This is not us assuming stuff, reading between the lines, as making harsh or rash assumptions. No, this dude put this on wax. Crazy. I hope we don't ever have a diva receiver like that. T-Mac, stay humble, bro. Stay humble. You're going to be one of them elites. Stay humble. T-Mac might get $50 million a year. I don't know if you've seen it. Drake London got a bag. By the time T-Mac's time to get paid, T-Mac might get $50 million. T-Mac might get $50 million the way these receivers getting paid. Christian Gonzalez got a $100 million contract. He hadn't even broke 600-some yards in a season. T-Mac might get $50 million. He might get $50 million. All fast we talking about the Panthers. These are Panthers related. These teams are on the Panthers schedule. These teams are on the Panthers schedule. It is Panthers related. You can come back if you want to. But yeah, You got to think about Coker too. Coker is on another 1-year deal. Let's say Coker has 750 yards. How much does Coker get paid? It's the receiver market, man. Inflation is crazy. Their inflation is crazy. Like I said, we'll see what Coker, if Coker lives up to what we think he can do, man, Coker gonna get a bag too. Not a bag, but shoot. Not Christian Gonzalez, Christian Watson. Sorry. Christian Watson got $100 million. Oof. Coker have a breakout year. He might get that bag. All right. But let's talk about the blueprint, man. So the blueprint drop. I got to come on here, man, and tell y'all I told you so. It was always going to be tackle or bust. I know we talked about. I did mock a receiver at times, but I did have Monroe Freeling, and I think my second to last mock. But as you can see, they had some options, but tackle just always seemed to be what was going to be the thing. Heidi Ho, you know what I'm saying? Thank our lucky stars that Freeling fell to us, but it sounded like Proctor and Freeling were two guys that were high on the list. I know a lot of fans for the Panthers weren't too big on Proctor, but you know what I'm saying? He was a legit option. Proctor's playing guard this year, and apparently he's going to switch to tackle at some point. But I know receiver was the sexy thing, but tackle seemed like it was always going to be there. And I thought some of the wording by Dan Morgan was very interesting as well. He said stuff like, they talked about moving up. Yeah, they mentioned Bane because I think Bane was sliding. So I think that Bane was going to be like literally BPA because like, I don't know. All facts, man, bro. Having a path, look, I don't know why the mud so bad. Y'all want to get stuff out the mud so bad. If we have an easier path of resistance to get a win, why are you like, why is it wrong? Why is it bad to want to play a team, you know what I'm saying, that's not as good? If we got to the Super Bowl and whoever we played the Rams, or we played not the Rams, we played the Patriots, and Drake May didn't play, you're not gonna want to, because if Drake May is hurt or doesn't play, you're not gonna feel as good about the win because it's weak because you wanted to face a team. We won the Super Bowl without their best play. Like, we got a hard schedule. Any kind of help we can get, I'm taking. Call it whatever you want to. We got a hard schedule. Anything that can lighten that load, I'm for it. You can call it what you want to. Call it what you want. He said, damn, must think Lemon gonna be. Yeah, I don't even know. I don't know. I don't think, it just didn't feel like receiver was ever a strong choice though. It just didn't feel like receiver was ever that strong of a choice. But they want to tackle, and I just have to respect them, man. Ike Ekwonu's injury is just so clear. We had to do something, man. And I don't know what this means for Ike going forward, but I think that left tackle and protection for Bryce Young is just way too important for them to just be like, oh, we'll play. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. Ike has been homegrown. Ike is a guy that's local. We've had him. He's made some progress. Still a little inconsistent at times. But at the same time, bro, like, you can't play with that. That's a serious knee injury. We didn't really know. We don't know what Ike Ekwonu's status is going to be, but I think the energy on the blueprint about how they were approaching tackle, how they talked about getting a franchise tackle, you know what I'm saying? They moved accordingly. They even flirted with using a fifth to move up. That lets you know how thirsty they were for a tackle. So I think how their energy on the blueprint really lets you know how they feel about Ike Ekwonu's injury. Obviously, they ain't got to put out no injury report, so we'll never know, you know what I'm saying, to the extent, but it said a lot to me. I have a full, longer length blueprint reaction and breakdown. So on the blueprint. So I'll go into the rest of the details of it and my thoughts about it in a longer extended video. Just FYI. But I definitely want to talk about that tackle point. Okay. We also got some news from OTAs. Let's talk about it. J.C. Horn has been taking snaps in the slot. We got a tweet from Mike K from the Charlotte Observer. Will Lee got a lot of work with the first team defense when J.C. Horn got some nickel reps. Canales has been pleased with this progress. I'm going to put the Will Lee part aside. Actually, I'm going to acknowledge it. Will Lee getting first team reps, I wouldn't read too high into it for one, because it's OTAs. Everybody gets a shot to mix and match to see how you test out in certain groups. So they're going to mix and match personnel just to see who does what and how they play against better competition. The stakes are low. We don't have pads on. You know what I'm saying? But it's still a competitive atmosphere. You want to work your technique. You want to work the defense's techniques. Will Lee is a guy that's a better press man corner. But we don't run press man type of stuff. Our system. We play off coverage. We play a lot of match zone. Some mainly cover 3 match. We play some 4. You know what I'm saying? But we haven't really seen J.C. Horn in the slot since the Phil Snow days. If we can get J.C. Horn in the slot, there's no more running for these receivers in the division. Chris Godwin, don't hide in the slot. Drake London, don't hide in the slot. I know he ain't have a couple good outcomes, but I'm going to even call out Chris Olave. He got to get some get back. He can run with him in the slot as well if we need to. So I think J.C. Horn finally getting some work in the slot just says the confidence that they have in the depth of the cornerback room. A lot of people want to know, why doesn't J.C. travel? Why doesn't J.C. travel? Why doesn't J.C. travel? Well, because I don't think they had a lot of confidence in the depth of the cornerback position outside of him. Because if you put J.C. Horn in the slot, all they're going to do is just motion his man across somewhere, and now you got Drake London matched up with Shaw Smith-Wade. Or you got Mike Evans, like last year, matched up with Shaw Smith-Wade. Or whomever. And so it's just so tough for you to, without playing man coverage, for the traveling to even work. And so whether it's Will Lee, whether it's Corey Thornton, they needed another boundary corner that can play that press, because that backside on the short side of the field in the boundary, they play a lot of press coverage. A lot of times you are man backside. It's cover 4 at times, but you can press. You're pretty much locked up when you're that single guy on that backside in our system. And J.C. Horn does that. That's not really Mike Jackson's bag. That's not Mike Jackson's bag. Mike Jackson, he did a good job in certain matchups, aka the Rams, when he went against bigger, slower wide receivers like a Devontae, like a Puka, where his speed isn't tested or lack of speed isn't really a factor. He can play physical. and be able to make things happen. He had a hell of a game against the Rams that first time. But I would not put Mike Jackson in the boundary because Mike Jackson is better with his eyes in the backfield looking at the quarterback and the wide receiver. He's not good with his back to the football. Having to play that press, you have to have your back to the ball, play the receiver, play the hands, squeeze them to the sideline, be able to turn and look back for the ball. A couple times Mike Jackson was in that scenario, he got in trouble. There was a nasty catch he gave up against Stephon Diggs that comes to my mind. Mike Jackson is great at what he does. This system really favors the skill set that Mike Jack does. So he's able to be on the wide side of the field, play off coverage, be able to play from depth. He plays faster, being able to come forward and downhill and being able to break side to side laterally than he does turning and running, you know what I'm saying, as a corner because he doesn't have the speed. So I think that this is a beautiful thing for J.C. Horn to be getting some slot reps. I know we do a lot of different things with our nickel coverage. We do 3 safeties, we do 2 safeties, and an actual nickel corner. And then sometimes we'll run dime. We'll be bringing 2 DBs, 3 safeties, and another corner, and then we'll put Moehrig in the box. So there's a lot of different things that we can do, just giving ourselves options. That's what it's about. In the modern NFL, it's about giving yourself options and versatility. And just having the buttons on to be able to push, to be able to match up accordingly. You know what I mean? And so I think that's what this defense wants to do in the secondary. Have that versatility to be able to match up against any body type. Big bodies, small guys. You got tight ends that you want to split out at wide receiver. You got running backs you want to use in the passing game. I think being able to have the alignment, versatility of everybody in the secondary is going to be something that we can build upon. So again, you play faster going forward. That's the philosophy of this system. And I know on 3rd and 6, being 10 yards off, it's mind-numbing. I'm with y'all. But the philosophy in the system is that stay off, don't give up the big plays, make them nickel and dime you. You play faster going forward, keeping everything in front of you and going downhill than you do running backwards. So that's why they play so far off. Again, and down and distance matters. I would love for them to be able to get up a little bit closer. Get up a little bit closer when the timing is right on a certain down and distance. It can be mind numbing, but it is what it is. So maybe he gets a little bit more confidence in our group now that we got some people that they wanted to draft. Just listen, like I said, listening to the blueprint, he talked about when they wanted some corner depth. I think they feel good about Thornton, but maybe they think he's strictly a slot. I think Corey Thornton can play the boundary. Maybe there are questions about his speed too. He didn't run that fast in college either. I think it was 4.6. J.C. Horn has the speed. He ran 4.4. I'm not mistaken. Coming out. Obviously, there's been some injuries for J.C., but he can still run. But a versatility is the key. It is. And that brings us to the next piece of this episode. The depth. Hey, man, the safety room. Let's look at it. Trevon Moehrig, Zakee Wheatley, Isaiah Simmons. Nick Scott, on the other side, Nick Scott, Lathan Ransom, Damani Richardson. The only, and that we have a variety, not a variety, there's a couple skill sets that we have, but looking at this, free safety, we got to differentiate between these skill sets. I think Isaiah Simmons is brought in, one, for special teams, but two, as a Trevon Moehrig backup. And we're going to talk about Trevon Moehrig in this video, this episode tonight, but the ability to play in the box, to play some deep safety, to play some nickel in the slot, to line up on the edge at times, to be a blitzer. That's what Isaiah Simmons' game is, and that's exactly what Trevon Moehrig does. Moehrig does it at 202 pounds. Isaiah Simmons is 230? A lot heavier. So I think those two are the star position, which was the new thing they call these hybrid safeties. The star position. And then you got a strong safety type, which is like a Ransom, which is like a Wheatley, that line up in different places as well. Can be a robber in the middle of the field at times, line up in the slot. And then you have the free safety style, which would be more Nick Scott and Damani Richardson. Those guys, they play center field. They play in the middle of the field. They're that deep middle safety. When we run cover 3, they're more over the top. They line up in the box and come downhill at times. But they're that middle safety that's going to be deep when we run cover 3. Yeah, I think this is one of the best safety rooms we've had in a while. Y'all, I got Nick Scott up here because it may be trolling to some, but y'all gotta put some respect on Nick Scott name. If you're not a Nick Scott fan, you're not gonna like what I'm about to say for the next few minutes. You're not gonna like what I gotta say because Nick Scott is overhated, bro. And I come to you as somebody that was really dragging him through the mud in 2024. This brother could not tackle me in open field. He was a liability in open field trying to tackle players. He really didn't bring anything much in coverage. And what this fan base does is they get so dug in to what happens previously that when a guy actually puts some decent stuff on tape moving forward, they're so dug in, they don't want to take the L and just admit that they were wrong. It happened with Chuba Hubbard. Chuba Hubbard couldn't catch the ball, couldn't maintain his balance, seemed like he was tripping over his own shoestrings. He slowly developed himself into an every down back. The hands are still a little suspect, but he became a bell cow, ran for 1,000 yards. People were so slow to give him credit and change over. Nick Scott's the same way. Nick Scott is an average safety. Nothing wrong with being average. Being able to be a starter that, yeah, he's going to make some mistakes. J.C. Horn made mistakes. Mike Jackson got cooked. And they were the best duo in the league. Everybody's going to take some lumps. But Nick Scott improved his tackling. He was better all around. And he was just a lot more dependable in terms of running coverages than Lathan Ransom. Everybody wants Ransom to be that middle safety. I don't think he really has a skill set to be that center fielder like Nick Scott. I think maybe Wheatley can do that, in my opinion. Richardson has a similar skill set. But Nick Scott is fine. Can he be upgraded? Hell yeah. Do we hope Zakee Wheatley can eventually take his spot at some point this year? Hell yeah. But Nick Scott's making $1 million to get 17 games. He literally started all 17 games. I think he led the team in tackles. If I'm not tripping? I might be tripping. He had over 100 tackles though. I think Roseboom led us in tackles. But he's average. There's nothing wrong with being average. Yeah, again, I'm not saying that Nick Scott needs to be a Pro Bowler. I'm not saying he needs to get a 5-year extension. But him being $1 million and being a starting safety, people got to let that hate go. People got to let that hate go. If you can be average and consistent and we know what they expect from you, we'll take that. We'll take that. And again, somebody said roll that Rams clip. We got a lot more than that. Again, I got some Nick Scott propaganda going on tonight. So if you don't like it, it's about to get fun. I'm doing this halfway to troll. Halfway to just to show y'all the accumulation of how he played this year. So again, half of me is just trolling to do that highlight, but just showing you guys that Nick Scott was improved compared to 2024. 2024 was bad, but you can't have it tattooed in your brain. He got better. Was he worth coming back for $1 million to get a guy that if you need to, he can start all 17 games? Hell yeah. Especially when you're ushering in rookies. Because with rookies in this system, in the secondary is the hardest part of this defensive system. Derek Brown said it on the podcast recently. He was like, yeah, the up front, we keep it simple. And the secondary is when stuff gets kind of complicated. And so the miscommunications we saw last year, the blown coverages. There's nothing wrong with average play. That's the moral of the story. If he's average, if the rookies that we draft is Akeem Wheatley, we have Lathan Ransom. If these guys aren't good enough to beat out Nick Scott, then they're not ready. That's what it comes down to. If Nick Scott is so bad and mid, like y'all saying, why can't the guys behind him beat it? It's not favoritism. They're going to play the best players. They've shown that. That's why Corey Thornton took Shaw Smith-Wade's chain at nickel. They're going to play the best players. And so Nick Scott is a guy that is dependable, knows the system, is not going to blow coverages, and they know he's going to do what he needs to do. We're going to look at Ransom film in a little bit, and I'm going to show you some of his struggles in coverage, show you some of the good with Ransom, and then show you some of the struggles to show you why they probably didn't trust him to be that deep safety in the middle. I'll show it to you. I got proof. And I don't like to bash nobody on the channel, so this is just me showing the full scope. Because again, I tried to show Cam Jackson tape, I showed Princely and Nick's tape. I'm trying to get through all the rookies as possible to show you how they did. So we're giving a full scope. So I'll show you the Ransom stuff. We talked about the Ransom stuff during the year. If you're a member, you've seen some of the Ransom stuff. Show you bad Nick Scott. I mean, do I need to? There's some bad. My virtual interviews, I use Ecamm Live. It's not Nick Scott PR. It's just telling y'all that y'all got to let that hate go. That hate ain't good for you. If these people y'all think, if Nick Scott is that bad, then there should be no issue. There should be no issue with our rookies beating them out. It should be obvious. It shouldn't be any way to deny it if he's as bad as people say he is. That's all I'm saying. If not, then them rookies ain't ready yet. Not saying they trash, but they not ready yet. You hope they are ready. And ideally, they are better than average, and they can take his spot too. Ideally. So, again, the rookies have to make progress and show that they're ready to be able to beat some of these. Again, the system in the secondary can be complicated with the calls and checks. It's important. You saw how many times we blew coverages in 2024. It's important. Communication is important. But what also is important is versatility. And I have to say this safety room, man, my favorite player probably on the team at this point after Jonathan Brooks. I like Brooks. I still believe in Brooks. Is none other than Trevon Moehrig. Trey Mo, man, dog, I'm about to get that jersey this year. The Panthers signed Trevon Moehrig to a 3-year, $51 million deal with hopes that he would bring some versatility, attitude, just a mean streak and punch to this defensive unit. The modern NFL, we know everybody's running 11 personnel, 12 personnel, 13 personnel, going heavy with personnel, but passing out of it. Seattle made a killing off of that this year because what teams try to do, they try to match up with that. When you go 11, when you go 12 or 13 with one back and two tight ends or three tight ends, people want to match that. They think you're going heavy. They think you're going to run. They're going to put their base defense on there. They're going to put more linebackers on the field. And then they're like, okay, we're gonna bring in three tight ends, but we're gonna run spread. We're not gonna run double wings. We're gonna run spread. And then isolate these linebackers that aren't used to being in coverage and take full advantage. That's where this movement here of the star position is. Now, Bucky Brooks from NFL Network and NFL.com wrote an article about the top 5 star players in the NFL. Now, stars are characterized as guys that are like these hybrid safeties. They have to play deep safety. They have to play in the slot. They have to play in the block box. They're blitzers. They play some linebacker every so often. They even line up on the edge. And Trevon Moehrig was now ranked at number 5. Number 5. Which is great because we paid a lot of money for him. He was a top priority for the Carolina Panthers last offseason. 3 years, $51 million, good chunk of change. And he was a big difference maker. The alignment versatility for him is insane. Look at this chart. 15% at free safety. Just shy of 20% at strong safety. At linebacker, he was 25%, a little over 25% of the time. In the slot, right at 30%. And then on the D line, he almost hit 10% at 9.5%. The brother took over 100 snaps on the D line. That's crazy work. The guy is just everything, lines up everywhere and excels there. He led all NFL safeties in stops, which means a play that you make that constitutes a failure for the offense. He was second in the NFL safeties with 3 sacks and 5th with 14 quarterback pressures. A lot of people want to criticize him. And shout out to my guy Rob and Real Ball Watcher on Twitter. They criticize Moehrig for his completion percentage surrendered. But most of the time, as you can see, he's in the slot, so he's covering checkdowns. And so the guys are going to make plays and catch the ball, but he's getting coverage stops. He led the NFL, in secondary at least, in coverage stops because when the guys get the ball and catch it, he's stopping them for minimal gains, and it constitutes a failure for them. Let's go to the film and show you exactly the versatility that Trevon Moehrig brings to the table. I appreciate you guys watching. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up. If you are watching, let's get into some of this tape of Trevon Moehrig. And again, one of the most important pieces of our defense that may put us in the upper echelon of being able to do things of the modern NFL, of just the versatility, from the versatility that he brings. The ability to line up everywhere. He's special. He's special. And so I just think that his impact, man, he's been worth every penny. And I just think that what we're able to do this year, if we can get more coverage on ball with him, I think we did a lot to protect him in terms, like I said, giving up separation horizontally. If he can get a little bit better on that, covering in the slot, it'll take us to even more of another level because of his ability to be able to not have to hide him. And so with Corey Thornton being there in that nickel, what we do, we'll put him at nickel, put Corey Thornton at the deep safety when Moehrig's in the slot. I'm just excited for the potential and, like, again, became probably my favorite player on the team. Again, I like Brooks. When Brooks starts doing his Brooks thing, he's going to probably be that guy. But Moehrig is my favorite defender, no doubt. No doubt. Happy to have him on the team. Happy to have him on the team. Happy to have him on the team. But we have to go through our Lathan Ransom, breakdown. He is a rookie that really got some playing. He's a fan favorite for sure. But he's a rookie that gonna need some work. But we're gonna look at some of his positives and his negatives here shortly. But I want to take a second here. Shout out to the sponsor of this video, Prize Picks. Prize Picks, America's #1 sports picking app. The best way to make a little change while you're watching sports. Prize Picks is available in over 40 states, including California, Texas, and Florida. Just got to pick higher or lower, more or less on your favorite player stats, put a combo together, and if you get them correct, you do your thing. I told you I've been locked in with the WNBA, but what's been going on, what happened yesterday, and what's going to happen, tomorrow? NBA Finals. Let's get into the lab, brother and sisters. Shout out to everybody that's followed me on there because I've been posting some plays. I've been a little cold, I ain't gonna lie, but my W been all right. I've been profitable in the W. But I'm going with, for the finals next game, I'm going to Stephon Castle more than 11.5, which he's cleared in 5 straight games. He was very aggressive last game. I think it's a no-brainer. Jalen Brunson, my God. What he was able to do down the stretch, man, to put the team on the back, I just don't know what they're going to be able to do with him. Are they going to trap him? I don't think they can trap him. I don't think they can. So he's going to continue to get one-on-one. The way the refs are calling this series, he's going to be able to do the normal stuff he does. And I just think that he's going to be, we'll see if he's healthy. He looked fine to me, even though for somebody got rolled up on, but I got him over 285.5. Dylan Harper needs to get more playing time. He cleared this number as well. I think they have to play him over De'Aaron Fox if De'Aaron Fox is going to be cold in the fourth quarter. So I think Dylan Harper is going to get a lot more playing time. One of my favorite rookies coming out of this class. So I got more 12.5 for him off the bench. And then Landry Shamet. He's going to continue to get open looks. He's the spark off the bench. He's been shooting lights out. For him to show up like that on the road, I feel confident in him being able to hit 3 threes tomorrow. Man, come on, man. Give me Landry Shamet. Entry fee is $20. Going to get you $140 on that one. So they shot Brunson up with something crazy. I don't know what they did, but he came back. That fourth quarter, man, what I saw in the highlights, because I told y'all I fell asleep. But again, that's my slip. So shout out to Prize Picks, man. What you're going to do is use code HMA to get $50 in lineups instantly when you play $5. You can play $5 on this lineup. You can say you can follow me on there. I'll go ahead and drop this in. I'll put a 10-piece on it just for good measure. I feel good about it. But as you can see, I've been doing pretty decent. All I'm saying, man, Brunson, bro, the Brunson burner. I don't know why it won't let me click. The Brunson burner. But again, shout out to Prize Picks, man, on sponsoring the channel this year. Good things to come. All right. So, you guys, we talked about Nick Scott. We talked about Trevon Moehrig. Let's talk about some of our rookies. I say one. So Lathan Ransom was a guy we took in the 4th round out of Ohio State. Very experienced guy. It's funny, man. Lathan Ransom, if you look at his college highlights that the Panthers posted when he got drafted, he had highlights going against Trevor Lawrence. That's how long this dude was in college. COVID really did a number on these college players, man. It really did. It did a number on these college players. You a Cavs fan, bro? They got to get rid of Donovan Mitchell. I watched something that Mobley. It showed like some analytics and stuff about how they style of play. Mobley and Donovan Mitchell can't play together. And James Harden, oof. You already know how you get down. But Lathan Ransom is a guy that we took in the 4th round. Very experienced player in college. He's a fireball, man. His rookie year overall, some ups, some downs. He yells a spark in preseason. He's fearless out there. Let's look at some of the positives and areas to improve. So positives, the energy and effort is there. This dude plays 100 miles an hour. If you saw him, just looking at the celebrations and all that stuff and just how hard he hits, he's all over the place, man. That type of energy and positivity is infectious. The reckless abandon that he has for his body. He's not even that big, but he throws his body around, pause, whatever, and just is very, very physical, man. The energy and effort, he's a spark plug, man. You got to love players like that play hard because it jumps off the tape. Another thing about him is his instincts. He flashes some instincts. It can be inconsistent at times, but there's times where you just see him jump routes, and we'll look at it, where he's able to close so fast because of stuff clicking in his brain, him making that decision up and going. We saw some of that in preseason, the instincts of him making that interception about not guarding grass, but just going to make the play. Another positive, again, he's an enforcer. The hard hits. He gave Blake Corum, it was Blake Corum or Kyron Williams? I think it was Kyron Williams. He hit him a couple times in that Rams game, made him tap his helmet. He wanted to come out of the game. But I think Lathan Ransom, as an enforcer, very, 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 very respectable guy. Some areas to improve for him, the diagnostics. And I mean that in terms of just coverages and route combos. He takes the cheese at times and doesn't really diagnose what's going on in front of him at times. It can have him a half step slow and out of position in coverage. That's why I think they never really fully trusted him deep at times to play that safety. But I think that's something that can improve with experience and just being in the system. Again, it's just a lot playing in the secondary, specifically safety in this system. There's a lot of communication, alignment with all the match principles they run. When certain guys go to certain areas, you have to follow them. And so it can be a lot for a rookie. And so I think there's more time on task, more a full offseason like it is now again in there. Film study under Coach Cooley, who's a phenomenal coach. I'm expecting him to see a little bit better in terms of understanding the coverages and checks. Consistency in the same thing. Again, the consistency with the instincts. I'm going to show you 2 plays. One play he made in preseason. Another play he didn't make during the regular season. It was an instinctual play, but it was the same scenario. So I just want to see him be consistent. And again, I think time on task and knowing what you're doing more and feeling comfortable with that, not having to think and be a robot and just be a football player eventually, I think that stuff will come. I want to see the development that he can have out there on the field from the mental standpoint and the consistency standpoint. And then again, that just communication goes with that as well. The checks that you have to make at that safety position, being able to know who's got what when guys are doing crossing routes, or are you banjoing something in terms of when guys switch release? What are you doing? So just the communication with guys. And we'll show it on tape, some of the issues that came out. But a lot of this stuff is just youth. He has some physical limitations in terms of like being able to play deep. Will they want him to play deep, or do they want him to just be more of that strong role? They can be that robber around the middle of the field. I think he's better suited there in the intermediate and closer to the line of scrimmage versus playing that middle safety. So like the intent on getting Nick Scott benched for Ransom, it's going to take a lot of progress from Ransom this offseason if that's what they want him to do. I don't know if they see him as that role, though. I think Wheatley would be more of that center field role, in my opinion. That's my opinion. But again, we played 3 safeties enough that Ransom should get some good playing time this year, again, to show what he has. All right, so let's go to the tape, man. Look at some Ransom film. It happens. There's growing pains to playing young guys, and it happens. You live, you learn, you make the play. So again, that's why I think some of those little things like that, the communication, doing your assignment, being trusted to be able to do it. That's why a guy like Nick Scott played more than Ransom. That it just is what it is. Ransom was a rookie. He's going to get better. And again, Nick Scott is average and he's consistent. It's the devil. You know, we know, they know. If these guys aren't good enough to beat him out, that's on them. So we'll see what happens. That's what happens. And so there's going to be some lumps every so often with these young guys. If Wheatley gets thrown into the action, that's going to happen. Damani took his lumps against Atlanta in 2024. So it happens. It happens. Y'all got to get that Nick Scott hate out your heart, man. Got to get that Nick Scott hate out your heart. Y'all need this, like, again, it's an indictment on the rest of the room if they can't beat him. He's average. Nobody's saying he's elite. He's average. If average can't be beat out on this roster, then we got a problem with the guys that's being drafted. That's just the reality. That's the reality of it. That's the reality. But again, I like our safety room very, very much. It's one of my favorite position groups on this team. I'm excited to see what we can do. Put the depth chart back up. Again, I think Isaiah Simmons is more of a Trevon Moehrig type of guy because all the stuff we showed Moehrig lined up at, that's the bag that Isaiah Simmons can do, but he's a bigger guy. And so he's been really working. We talked about Isaiah Simmons. We showed his offseason workout, him doing a lot more DB drills. Seems like for the first time in his career, the Carolina Panthers are locking him in and letting him play only one position and then just go crazy on special teams. So I think that could maybe help him contribute to the team if his numbers called upon. Ideally, Moehrig does not get hurt. Ideally. But if he does, I think that what's it called? I think that Simmons is that guy that jumps in because he can do a lot more of the same stuff that they want Moehrig to do. I'm very, very curious about how Wheatley fits into the equation. Seemed like he was making some plays at practice. I saw his name mentioned on one of the play listings. I'm very, very curious if they try to make him that guy that can line up deep because he played a little nickel too at times. He's very, very slim. He's like string beam, but he seems like a nice dude, man. Seems competitive, well-spoken, seems focused. Just looking at what we heard on the blueprint from him and just seeing his tape, I'm excited about Wheatley. Now, Damani, it's going to be tough. I think Damani may be the odd man out yet again and goes on the practice squad. I think it's going to be in the practice squad. Ivy James, who's the real ball players? Who's the real ball players? If they're going to be blowing coverages, Evero can't trust them on the field. That's the thing. If you're going to blow coverages, you can't be trusted to play full time. If you can't be trusted to do your assignment, communicate, and do what you're supposed to do, the coaches aren't going to play. That's just it is what it is. Y'all want to play favorites when your favorite might be blowing coverages. No, we're trying to win football games. We're trying to defend this division title. We need what we know on the field. We need consistency. If you're going to be consistent and show up, you're going to play. They've played the best player on defense. Again, Corey Thornton snatched Shaw Smith-Wade's chain. That didn't stop them. They gave Shaw every chance to do it because Shaw had a great offseason. Shaw had a good training camp, apparently, according to reports. They gave him every opportunity, but Corey Thornton had took his job by the time, the Dolphins game that came around, Falcons game, right before he got hurt. So, look, if you show up and you make plays, they're going to give you an opportunity. They're going to give the other guys a chance. It's their job to lose. Same way Jalen Coker snatched Jonathan Mingo's chain. Why do y'all keep saying Evero chose DJ Johnson? That was a Scott Fitterer mistake. You think Evero is pushing the buttons? You think Evero would have waited this long? We haven't drafted a first-round defender since Evero has been here. If he had that much pull, we would have drafted Jalen Walker or James Pierce Jr. last year, or Walter Nolan, or Mason Graham last year. There was plenty of defenders we could have tried to make a move for last year if Evero had the pull that y'all talking about. What happened is they panicked. DJ Johnson was a panic move. Do they like size? Hell yeah, we know they like size. Yeah, I saw Nick Herbig got a bag, and he's undersized and plays in the 3-4, can rush the quarterback. But y'all know they love size. We just saw them on the blueprint talk about how much they love size. They just drafted a 6'7" tackle. They love size. They just drafted another 6'3", 6'4" wide receiver. They love size. They just drafted another 6-foot corner. They love size. They drafted a 330-pound defensive tackle. They love size. Yeah, show me where he was twerking for DJ Johnson. Show me where he was twerking for him. Show me where he was twerking for him. I mean, that's Scott Fitterer. Scott Fitterer, they panicked. There was a run on corners, and they run on edge rushers, and they wanted to get somebody that checked the boxes. He had long arms. He had a nice 40. They like arm length, and they like weight. Excuse me. He checked those boxes, and so they panicked and took a guy that checked their boxes. You know who also checks their box? Princely checks their boxes with arm length. Scoring checks their boxes with arm length. If anything, he pounded the table for Moehrig, but y'all don't want to give him credit for Moehrig. He just turned Moehrig into one of the most versatile, a top 5 at his position in elite. They love size, bro. We met with Nick Ebenward. I mean, everybody blew that. He fell to the second round. They love their size, though. They're going to go to measurables. Shout out my guy, Mr. Go 30 on the super chat. Let me put the main screen up. Appreciate you, brother, on the super chat, man. $20 super chat. Appreciate the support as always, big dog. Got to get you back on the pod. Why haven't we drafted a bona fide ball hawk type safety in back-to-back drafts? It's a good question. Now, last year, I'll say this. Again, and Dan Morgan isn't perfect. They make moves where they feel comfortable with some of these guys, and they decide to go otherwise. In my opinion, and he's a Panther now, so I'm going to support him. But the way things could shape out, ETN shouldn't have been drafted. They could have drafted, what's his name, Watts, or it was either Watts or Bowman. I think it was Bowman from the Falcons. They could have drafted him, but they decided to go running back in the 4th round. Did we really need a running back? If you're going to go running back, you could. I had other running backs that I like better, but I think I think it was Bowman or Watts that went a couple picks after. They passed on. I don't know why. They like vets. I think because the system is just so complicated. They like vets, and they're going to try to develop. They're going to try to develop safeties otherwise. Because they could have took the Eneman, but they locked in on tackle. They locked in on tackle. last year. This year, I don't know. I got to look at the board to see who the options were outside of Thieneman. But in terms of like ball production, I don't know who else outside of Thieneman that they would have liked in the middle. I know I personally like Halsey. I don't know why they didn't go Halsey. They wanted to beef up the interior because I guess they knew what was coming with. I guess they didn't know what was coming. They knew they lost Ashawn, but I personally would have took Halsey or Stooks in the second round outside over Lee Hunter. I think Lee Hunter will be fine player for us. I'm all about drafting the trenches. I'm never going to get too mad about that. But I personally would have taken Halsey or Stooks in that second round when I had the chance. That's me. Again, Dan Morgan ain't perfect. He ain't perfect. He does a lot of good things, but he can miss sometimes too. No GM is perfect. You ain't got to drink the Kool-Aid and just think that every move that he makes is gold. Because again, I would have took a safety like Bowman. I don't even know where Xavier Watts went, what pick he went. I don't think Xavier Watts from the Falcons was in the second round. Is his name even Xavier? But he was a ball hawk in college. He just, at Notre Dame, he just got hurt. So he went in the third round. Watts went in the third round. So we would have had to pass on Princely for Watts. So that wouldn't happen. But Bowman definitely is a safety / nickel guy. And is a guy that we could have gotten on in terms of a ball hawk. So again, I'm never going to be mad at you drafting trenches. But again, these are things that you can look back and say, what if? What if? Dylan Thieneman, we're going to see him week 1 against the Bears. We'll see him. And so, I don't know. I don't know. Is Billy Bowman 5'5"? I don't think Billy Bowman's 5'5", brother. But again, they love their size, man. Corey Thornton, big corner. Will Lee, big corner. Sometimes, like I said, panic moves happen. Shaw Smith-Wade, in my opinion, was a panic move. There was a run on corners, and we missed out in that 5th round. We used that 5th. We traded up for Xavier Legette, and I think we moved around again in the 5th and moved back. There was a run on corners in the 5th round. Cam Hart, if you remember, Cam Hart is like 6'1", 6'2". He plays for the Chargers now. Pretty darn good corner. Pretty good job. He was a guy that checked all the boxes on size and length, played off coverage, had some good tape against Marvin Harrison Jr. in college. He went in the area that we missed out on because of that 5th round pick we gave up to get Xavier Legette. You know, so it is what it is. No, I agree. They need to get cheaper in the trenches. That's why they like Lee. And like I said, they think that they thought that it was a cliff after Lee Hunter in terms of the interior D lineman of the class. So they wanted to do it. He told you that before the draft. He said, yeah, we panic every so often, and you can see it on the blueprint. They almost traded up with a 5th rounder to get Monroe Freeling. Monroe still fell to us. But again, you saw Dan Morgan say it. They almost traded up. They almost gave up a 5th to go get Monroe Freeling. Sometimes they get antsy. Sometimes they let the board come to them. He's never been shy about moving up. He did that for Nick, for Scorton, and for Princely. If they're going to do something, they're going to move up. Moved up, 2 picks for Lee Hunter? Something like that, 3 picks, something like that. So, again, sometimes they panic. You're not shooting 100% from the field. You're not going to. The draft is a crapshoot for a reason. Just got to make more hits than misses. And he seems to be on that track so far. You throw in a couple undrafted free agents that have made the team and contributed. I mean, you're about to have 2 undrafted free agents that are going to be starters. One in the secondary, one at receiver. That's pretty damn good. These guys are making doctor money. Undrafted free agents be making doctor money. And whenever you can get starters that are making that little of salary, that's good team building. So you got to give Dan Morgan credit for that. But again, there are some misses. Excel seems to be a little bit whatever as a first-round pick, but you got Jalen Coker as undrafted free agent. It's a wash. No harm, no foul. I mean, it's harm and foul because it's the first-round pick. We could have had somebody else, obviously. I'm still hopeful for Excel. But to be able to get an undrafted free agent like Jalen Coker that's going to be your wide receiver too, I mean, what, who could ask for anything more? D-Money, what up, though? Again, nobody's perfect. Nobody bats 1,000. More good than bad. Obviously, the success on the field, we've shown improvement over the past 2 years. Playoff berth. Let's build off of it. But all right, guys, I'm gonna get up off here, man. I gotta get some food in me, and got some more work to do for my work. All right. Well, I appreciate everybody tuning in to this episode of After Further Review. Again, if you want to become a member, do that to get the full replay, all the film breakdowns as well that go along with this. Shout out to everybody that tuned in live, man. Give me a subscribe if you have not to get notifications whenever we go live. But that's all, folks. I'm out of here. Y'all enjoy your weekend. Shout out to everybody in the chat. J47, appreciate you, brother. D-Money, Ivy James. This episode was for you. Shout out to Nick Scott. Shout out to Nick Scott. One time for Ivy James. Shout out to Nick Scott. See, her Coker might get a extension. He just got paid, I think, right? He got that he signed the tender. So I think Coker's good. I mean, he's cheap for now. Yeah, the Nick Scott episode. Just wanted to push some buttons, ruffle some feathers, keep things fresh around here, for you guys. But all right, y'all. Love y'all. Peace.